In this video, I'm going to talk about different aspects associated with AI text detection. So this has been talked about a lot online as far as this is kind of a cat and mouse game because we get a new AI text detector and then there's a way to circumvent and there's a way to overcome it. So I'm going to talk about both of these different aspects. So to begin with, all the things that I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to put references, information, and links in the description as well. AI detection generally has been found to be anywhere between 65 to 90% effective. So that means it can actually do a pretty good job, especially some of the newer ones, in being able to detect whether this was written by AI. I've gone through and I tried out a whole bunch of different ones, and I also went through and tried to go through and read about the research associated with a lot of these different detectors. So let me just give you just a rundown, a listing of some of the different ones that are out there. Some of these are free, some of these are paid, so I'll list that as I go through. Writer AI Content Detector, free. OpenAI Classifier, free. ChatGPT, or excuse me, just GPT-0, free. Giant Language Model Test Room, free. Content at Scale, free. Detect GPT, free. Sapling AI Detection, free and paid options. Originality.ai, paid. Kaizen SEO, paid. Plagiarism Detector, paid. Turnitin AI Detection, which will be coming out soon. This is, again, from the famous Turnitin. Everyone kind of in academia knows about them. It's going to be a paid aspect, but it's going to be available soon. So they claim that they'll be able to really do this well. So in using those things, it's important to think about, yes, they're very effective. Yes, the accuracy is generally pretty good. But a student who is just a little bit aware, they can circumvent those things. I limited myself to just 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours of research associated with circumvention. I went through, I did a search for that. I watched a few videos. I went back and actually attempted these things, and it's very effective. You can circumvent them. Now, the accuracy rate for the ones that I listed there, that's direct accuracy if a student were to simply take something from ChatGPT or another AI and then, again, let me just test it. So if they were to take that and turn it in directly, yeah, it's very effective in detection. But if, again, I'm a student that's just a little bit more aware, reads a little bit about what's available out there, this is not new information, it's all over the web, they could greatly reduce the effectiveness of those detection softwares. I'm going to quickly just list through some of the things that can be done by a student in order to greatly reduce the effectiveness of those detection software. So a simple one, like inserting a few low-level mistakes. If I just go in to whatever ChatGPT or another AI gives me, and I just add a couple of mistakes here and there, that's going to make it seem like it's more created like a human. Other things like just general punctuations. I could also make those punctuations, I could make those white, right? So it's white, so you won't see it as the instructor if I hand it in, but an AI detection software will see these mistakes that are white and say, hey, these are mistakes, so it's obviously made by a human. So again, these little crazy things that are out there, that these are techniques that students could use, as well as putting in a couple of misspelled words that makes it seem more human, replacing the word and with the symbol and. That makes the detection software think that it's made by a human. Also, some of the detection only looks at the first 50 words. So again, if I just change the first 50 words, now it's original. If I use an AI paraphraser like Quillbot, so I can go through and paraphrase a few words that are given to me by the AI, and now the detection software, it won't recognize that as being created by an actual AI system like ChatGPT. But the biggest one, the most powerful one, and I'm not going to fully explain it because there's a great YouTube video that goes through and talks about this. Kudos to that person, definitely check it out. Is there's a simple thing that a lot of the advanced detection softwares use, and that's this idea of perplexity and burstiness within the actual text. So the level of perplexity and burstiness in how things are written, that will determine whether it's more human or if it's more written by an AI like ChatGPT. So if I just go into ChatGPT and say, hey, I need this level of burstiness and perplexity, can you do that to whatever you create for my essay? and it'll totally do that. And now all of a sudden it's written more human because of the proper level of perplexity and burstiness, and now the detection software isn't going to be able to detect it. I tried this with one of the essays that I had ChatGPT make. I went through the additional prompt of perplexity and burstiness, and then fed it to all the different detection software that I could have access to. It completely went through. None of them were able to detect it. Whereas they could detect it before when it was just the output of the AI of ChatGPT directly. But once I talked about perplexity and burstiness, it couldn't detect it at all. And it gave me 100% all the time that, yeah, this was written by a human. So again, if I was able to do that really quick, then guess what? So will your students as far as circumventing the detection software. So again, a lot of the students, they'll be able to do this. So keep that in mind if you're thinking that, oh, if I just get this really expensive software, it'll solve all my problems. It might solve some of the problems for students that just quickly, oh, I'm just going to take this and turn it in. But for those other more advanced students, it's not going to be the end all. So what does that mean for us? Well, it's, in the end, it's a losing battle, but it's still very much important. It's still very much important for us to have these detection softwares, for us to invest and go into this, and to tell our students that we are using these detection softwares, that their content could be checked on that. Why? Because then that pushes this idea that we take it seriously. We don't want people to just cheat, right? We don't want people to use that software when we tell them not to use it. Now, I'm very much in favor of using ChatGPT for a lot of different things, but you as the instructor have that power, and you should be the one determining, okay, for this assignment, don't use ChatGPT. Why? Because I'm trying to build skill mastery on these different things. For this different assignment, yes, use ChatGPT. Why? Because we're integrating it. But you as the instructor need to make those decisions, and you need to be sure that you're crystal clear with the student so that they know what they can do and what they can't do, but more importantly, also tell them why. Make sure that they understand the relevancy as to why are they able to use it, why are they not? Why do they need to have this basic skills mastery for whatever you're teaching them? And when is that going to be helpful to them? They need to understand the developmental process. They really need to know the relevancy. So that's a key part in all of this. The other part to really think about when you're using these detection softwares is some of the ethical considerations. Never put in a student's work if there's names on there. If the person's name is on there, well, now you're exposing that to that detection software. There's privacy concerns to think about. Again, you want to always protect the information of the student. But along with that, we need to be really clear in understanding what is the privacy and the data usage that detection software is going to do with the content that you submit for detection. Are they going to be able to resell that data? Are they going to expose some of the content within an essay that you were trying to check? What if the student wrote something that was really personal to them? What if it's a personal narrative story and now you're using this and now you're exposing the student? So you have to be really clear in whatever detection software you're using that there is privacy considerations, that all the data is going to be secure and it's not going to be exposed in any way. Because again, we always have to be thinking and protecting the student. So that's an important thing as well. So now what else can we do? What else can we do to try and detect what's going on so that students aren't using an AI system when we don't want them to, when it's not to their benefit as far as their developmental process? One of the big things is to know your student. This can be hard for big classes, but many times it's really important for us to first know what is our student capable of. What type of writing are they doing right now? That way, when they turn in an assignment, you can compare that and you can see, oh, well, I know my student is at this level, but this new essay that they turned in is at a completely different level. So I think that maybe there's something going on here. I need to talk to that student to understand what's going on, to make sure that they're following the instructions and they know what the instructions are. So getting to know your student, this can be done through maybe a low stakes or no points paragraph that they write in class, or maybe you take them to the computer lab, they write it there, something that now you have a starting point to understand, okay, what is the capabilities of my student at this time, and then compare that to a future assignment. So again, that's one technique. The other aspect or the other things to consider is even as you're going through the assignment, you're going through this learning process, to hold them accountable, to discuss in class. Okay, where are we at with this? What's been the development in your essay? Making sure that they know what's going on as opposed to just turning in that final product. Because the big thing is that what we're trying to do in our teaching and learning is that this learning process, that's the key for them to learn and to understand. We don't necessarily want to focus on just that end product. The end product is important. We want them to be able to create, but we want to be able to ensure that they know that process, that learning that takes place in the meantime. So that might include more formative assessments as well as even to including them having another component to, let's say, an essay. Maybe the other component is a presentation in class where they have to answer questions and be able to fully express what they learned and what they went through and the content of the essay that they actually created. So these are some key things to think about to help students reflect, to understand, to apply. But more importantly is to understand how we can properly deal with detection software, knowing your student, using the process. We do want to use ChatGPT. We do want to use these AI systems. Why? Because AI literacy is super important. It's very important for their development. They're going to need it as soon as they get out of the university. That's many, many more businesses, and it's increasing every single time as far as businesses are using AI. Industry is using AI. This is an important skill. AI literacy is a super important skill that students must develop in order to be competitive, in order to be relevant in the job market. So we're doing them a disservice if we don't properly teach them throughout the classes. So detection is important, again, so that we can focus on when they should be using AI, when they shouldn't. Again, with the relevancy, make sure that they know, thinking about the ethical considerations, and always incorporating AI literacy. All right, thank you. And remember, learning is for life.